Denari has received a very significant nerf, as well as receiving a buff too. I also think that I may have been given rewards twice in the launch of this new season, so I got an extra 40,000 renown, but I'll get onto that. But let's talk about Denari first. So Denari has received a significant nerf. Previously, when an attacker would trip his lasers, they would be down for 3 seconds only, and then they would come back on. This made him incredibly strong, because you couldn't really burn his lasers and then run through them. You could with someone like Yana or Ram, but you would have to be very, very quick. Whereas now, the lasers, when they're deactivated, will stay deactivated for 8 whole seconds, which is the same time that attackers are affected by his lasers. If an attacker walks through Denari's laser, they get almost an electric effect, and they are slowed down for that 8 seconds. So now it takes that long for the lasers to come back on. This change was very needed. Dinari is a very strong operator, but I think a lot of people thought that he was OP. I never thought that he was OP. However, this was one thing that I thought was too quick, because it literally doesn't give the attackers even a chance to try and counter him if they haven't brought the necessary operator to do so. They are very much stuck. So I think this is a good idea, especially if somebody goes down in a frost map, for example, and then they try to revive themselves. Denari's laser would go off quicker than they could revive themselves. So that is a guaranteed death. So although I think Frost needs a buff, because I think Frost is quite weak, I don't think Dinari should be that buff. I think Frost should receive a buff on her own. But here is what the lasers used to look like. So you could use Yana and sprint through, and then they would turn back on within 3 seconds. Now, with this change, I actually genuinely think that Yana is the best counter to Dinari. She can now drone from quite far away, burn her gadget, and then run in to site or wherever she wants to push from. And she can still use her Iona clone from far away, so she can do it safely. Previously, she had to literally be hugging the door to be able to run through and then run into site or wherever she needed to get to. So this in itself, I think, is a very good nerf and also needed, and also an indirect buff to Yana. However, Dinari has also received a very needed buff. So his Glaive 12 did not do any destructible damage. And here is me realizing that in this clip here that they have significantly increased the destructible damage that it now does. Previously, you had to use like 8 bullets to be able to make it rotate, but you can now comfortably do it in 4. This was one of the biggest things that I fed back when I played the test server, because the whole point of his secondary shotgun was to be able to synergize with his gadget. However, the destructible damage that it could do was so weak that it couldn't. This is me kind of just experimenting with if I could do one in 4, and you can definitely do a rotate in 4. I think there might be an issue on some maps if you don't ADS, because it doesn't do anything, which obviously isn't right. But yeah, you can now make a rotate with 4. And you can now do better lines of sight for your gadget with his secondary shotgun, which was his whole purpose in the first place. These 2 changes to Dinari makes him so much better. And I think 2 of the biggest pain points were both of these. They listened in the test server and they fixed the issues before he came to the live build. This is actually huge. I didn't see this in patch notes anywhere. I don't know if this is an invisible change that they didn't announce, or if it was in patch notes and I just didn't see them. Either way, this is a welcome set of changes to Dinari. Whilst making this video, they've also just come out and said they've actually reduced the amount of damage that his trip connectors do. Originally, they're on 20 per laser that you tripped as an attacker. It now only does 15 damage. Now, I think that Ubisoft may have given me double rewards this season. I'm a little bit confused by this. So last season, they announced every time you level up, you'll get 1,000 renown, our levels would be adjusted, and there'd be rewards for the first 50 tiers. And then with this season, there are 3 extra rewards, one for tier 70, one for tier 90, and one for tier 100. It's a charm for tier 70, and then both are background cards for tier 90 and 100. But when I logged into this season, it gave me all of the previous rewards from last season, because you get 4 or 5 operators. If you've already owned them, you get 10,000 renown. Obviously, I already owned them all. And I got the 10,000 renown for each of these operators last season, as well as the alpha packs. I got them too. But when it's gone through this, it's then given me them again. I was 40,000 renown up. I was a couple of alpha packs up, as well as getting all of this. Now, I don't know if it's because I originally got these rewards on Xbox when I signed in last season, and this time I signed in from laptop or PC because I'm currently on vacation. And so it thought that I didn't originally have them. It's the same account, and my accounts are linked. I'm the same level on both. But either way, I got it twice. So let me know if you also got those twice, and maybe if you have Siege on both, sign in to the other one to see if that happens for you next season, maybe. But yeah, that's not something that's guaranteed to happen to other people as such. It's just happened to me, so I thought I'd add it in because I'm just more curious more than ever. And you can also get this outfit for Solace, which I've already covered, but I will cover this in more detail soon.